welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be an all drugstore makeup tutorial. I went to Ulta this morning and I picked up a bunch of stuff so that I can do a complete full face using only drugstore makeup. I know that I usually use a lot of high-end products, but that's just because I find that at the drugstore or at Ulta, it's very hard to test out the products that are from drugstore or more affordable brands, whereas at Sephora, you can test out the products because there are testers everywhere. You can get samples. It's much easier to try out a product before you actually go and purchase it to see if you like it. But at the drugstore, I feel like it's really hit or miss. You either get the product and like it, or you get the product and hate it. And I feel like I spend more money trying to find one product that I like at the drugstore rather than just testing it out at Sephora, liking it, and then going to purchase it, if you get what I'm saying. But today I have a lot of stuff in here that I am excited to try, so let's just go ahead and get started. So my face is completely clean and moisturized, but the first thing that I'm going to do is go in with the NYX Angel Veil Primer. I picked this up today. Some of the products that I'm going to use today I already owned and I already love, but I will let you know which products I'm using for the first time and give you my first impression. So the first thing I'm going to do is just take some of this primer. Oh my god, that's a little bit way too much. So I'm actually not going to use all of this because that's way too much. So this primer is supposed to mattify your skin and leave it feeling very smooth and velvet-like. And so far it does feel very soft. It doesn't have a silicone feel, but it feels very velvety. I like that a lot. It's just making my skin feel extremely soft, like softer than I've ever felt it in my life. Okay, so now that I have that on, I am gonna go in with my favorite drugstore foundation. And this is the Maybelline Dream Liquid Mousse Foundation. And this is in the shade Sandy Beige Medium 1. And if you guys watched my yearly favorites, then you heard me talk about this and how much I love it. So I'm just taking a couple pumps of that on the back of my hand. And I'm gonna take my beauty blender to blend it out. If you guys have already tried out this foundation and you didn't really like it so much and you're looking for other drugstore foundations, I did a video all about my top favorite foundations, and I mentioned 3 high-end and 3 drugstore foundations that I absolutely love. And I talk about the finishes and the coverage, so if you guys are interested in watching that video, then I will leave it in the description box below. Okay, so next, before I go ahead and conceal and do anything else, I actually want to fill in my brows. And L'Oreal just came out with a new brow product, and this is the Brow Stylist Definer. And this is a retractable crayon. It's very similar to the Anastasia Brow Wiz. And I tried the Milani one a long time ago, and the tip of the applicator was just way too thick, and the product was way too creamy that it just was a mess. So I'm excited to see if this one is good. I love L'Oreal. L'Oreal and Maybelline are my 2 favorite drugstore brands. Like, they are my go-to. If I ever need a product, I check by them first to see if they have it, and then I'll go branch out to the other brands at the drugstore, but those are my 2 favorite. So the tip on here is also a lot smaller than the Milani one that I tried. And so far this is extremely pigmented. The only thing that I don't like about this is that it feels very fragile. Like, it feels like if I push too hard, the entire pencil, the packaging, everything is gonna break. With my Anastasia Brow Wiz, I feel like I could put a lot more pressure. And this, I feel like I have to do really, really light feathery strokes, otherwise it's gonna break. Okay, so far so good. I like how it filled in my brows, no complaints. It was very easy to work with, very pigmented. I like that a lot. So let's go ahead and move on to concealer. I'm gonna be using my Maybelline Instant Age Rewind, and this is in this shade Neutralizer. And I am just going to be putting this underneath my eyes, up to my temples in a little bit of an upside down triangle. And I'm gonna put a little bit right in the center of my nose and on my chin as well. And then I'm also gonna go in with the Maybelline Fit Me Concealer. This is in the shade 10 Light, also a great drugstore concealer. And I'm just gonna put a little bit of that on top of it because I don't want such a bright highlight. Also, in case you guys are curious, I don't ever put concealer straight here on my forehead because my forehead area is the driest part of my skin. And if I put too much product on that area, it looks very cakey and gross because my skin is so dry that it just does not work, like the product just kind of like sits on top of my skin. So I like to take whatever is left on the beauty blender after I'm done blending out my concealer and put it right there. I don't put the product intentionally right in the middle of my forehead. So this is a new product from Maybelline. It is a loose setting powder. This is the Master Fix Setting and Perfecting Loose Powder. And this says it sets, mattifies, blurs, and smooths. So that's awesome. I think there's only one shade in this. It is a loose powder. I'm hoping that it would be some sort of dupe for the Laura Mercier Secret Brightening Powder. So I'm gonna go ahead and set my face. It just looks like this. And I'm using my Sigma, what is this called? The Sigma F35 brush. Wow, it's really, really bright white. I definitely would not bake with this. I feel like it would be way too much. But it's really finely milled, so that's good. But I also feel like it's very powdery, which is annoying because I have to keep dipping back. I'm not going to set my entire face with this because I feel like it would be way too much. I wonder if this would have any flashback with the camera. I'll have to check that. Okay, so far I'm liking that powder. It's not making my skin look cakey or anything like that. My skin is already dry to begin with, but it's not adding any extra weird cakiness. But to set the rest of my face, I'm going to be using my Rimmel Stay Matte powder. I've been using this stuff for years. I love it. I think it's a great affordable powder. So if you guys are looking for a good setting powder at the drugstore, this one is great. I think it's only $4 or $5. Okay, next I'm going to use some bronzer. It's so hard to find a bronzer at the drugstore that isn't straight up orange. I swatched so many, and then I found this one by Rimmel, and this is the natural bronzer. It just looks like this. It looks like it does have a little bit of a sheen to it. It doesn't look completely matte, but this is in the shade Sundance. So I'm just gonna go ahead and try this out. It looks like it's gonna be nice and pigmented. Hopefully it's not too orange. Okay, so it's pretty orange, not gonna lie. But it also has a gold undertone. It has like gold reflex in it or something. So it's adding a nice glow to the skin. It's not so horrible. I don't look like an Oompa Loompa, but it's pretty orange. Okay, so now let's go ahead and move on to the eyes. I got the L'Oreal La Palette Nude 1, and this is the more neutral one. They have one that is a little bit more cool tone. It just looks like this right here. This is a pretty pricey number for the drugstore. It was $20, but I had points and a coupon, so I got money off of it, but still, I think this is pretty expensive even though it is drugstore. But I guess the shadows in here are pretty big. You do get a lot of shadows, so I guess the value is there, but I don't know, when I think drugstore, I don't think $20 for an eyeshadow palette. I'm gonna go ahead and use the lightest shade in the palette first just to set my lids, because they are a little bit tacky from the foundation still, and I wanna make sure that all the colors that I put on top will blend out as easily as possible, especially since we're talking about drugstore eyeshadows. A lot of the time, they're really patchy, so let's try and make this job as easy as possible. I like this palette because there are a lot of matte neutral brown shades that you can kind of build up in the crease. So the first shade that I'm gonna take is this one right here, and it's more of a mauve-y brown. So let me zoom you guys in a little. So I'm gonna go ahead and start building this color up in the crease. Oh, another cool thing about this palette is that there's a mirror in here, so that's cute. You can kind of hold it up and see exactly what you're doing. So that's pretty awesome. Wow, I'm pretty damn impressed right now with these eyeshadows. It's really pigmented and it's so easy to blend out. It's not looking choppy or anything. It's actually going everywhere that I'm putting it down and blending out like a dream. Oh my god, I thought that these were going to be so much harder to work with, but they're actually pretty good. I am going to take this shade right here. It's just slightly darker and slightly more brown. This one's a little bit more pink in tone, like I said before. And I'm just going to put that right into my eye socket crease area. I want to start deepening up the outer corner. And this is a Sigma E25 blending brush. So I'm going to move down in the palette and take this one shade darker, and I'm going to just put that a little bit slightly lower than where we put the other shade. And I'm going to take it right on the outer corner as well, right here. I'm just going to use this Sonia Kashuk brush, and I'm going to mix these two brown shades right here, and I'm just going to go ahead and smoke out my lower lash line. I'm going to go ahead and take this shade right here, and I'm just going to place this on my brow bone. Let's put some of that in the inner corner as well. So next up, I'm going to be using this guy right here. This is the Essence All About Sunrise eyeshadow palette. There are just 6 shades in here, and I want to use one of them on the lid because they look super pigmented and amazing. And I think that I kind of want to do this peach toned one down here. I'm just going to go ahead. Oh my god. These are pigmented. I like these. They have so many different colors of these as well. They have like bright colors, they have more cool tones. I picked the warm tone one, obviously, because I love warm tones. And I'm just gonna be packing this all over the lid. So next for the eyes, I'm gonna use this Milani shadow stick, and this is in the shade Brown Deluxe, and I'm just going to be lining my waterline. I'm gonna go inside on the lower lash line, and I'm gonna try and tightline up as well. And now I'm going to go in with some mascara. I always use the L'Oreal Telescopic. You guys know that I absolutely love this mascara, but today I wanted to try the Rimmel Lash Accelerator. Everyone talks about this, and a lot of people use it for their lower lash line just because the wand is so easy to use. So I'm gonna go ahead and use this as my mascara today. Oh my gosh, this is so much easier to coat your lower lashes with than other mascaras, because there isn't too much mascara on the wand either, so it's not getting too clumpy and weird. Okay, let's try it on our top lashes. Ooh, I don't like it for the top lashes. Nope, not at all. I'm only going to use that for my lower lashes. I don't like that for my top lashes at all. Nope. So I'm going to use my L'Oreal Telescopic on my top lashes. Wow, that made my lashes really spidery and really clumpy on my top lashes. But on my bottom lashes, it did a really good job. That is so weird. Ooh, not a fan of that on my top lashes at all. Nope. Now there's a mess. Okay, so I'm gonna let my mascara dry for a second, clean it up, and then I'm gonna go ahead and do a second coat. But I do want to highlight, and I got this NYX highlighter. This is the NYX Illuminator in Ritualistic. It just comes in a compact that looks like this, and this is the color right here. It looks like somebody swatched it. That's really gross. But whatever. This reminds me a lot of Starlight from Anastasia Beverly Hills. It also reminds me of, what is it, Moonstone from Becca. It's that white pearlescent highlight shade. So I'm just taking a bit of that on my fan brush. Didn't really do anything. There we go. So this is not as intense of a highlighter as I am used to. It definitely adds a nice glow, but it looks kind of like you're wearing highlighter. It's not as finely milled of a powder as my other highlighters, but it's still pretty nonetheless. It's not like wow amazing, but it definitely is pretty. Like, there definitely is a glow to my skin, but it's not sitting like my other highlighters do. So for my lips, I'm going to line my lips with this NYX retractable lip liner in the shade Nude. And for my lips, I'm gonna be using my favorite lipstick ever. This is Teddy Bear by Milani. It's such a hard shade to find, but if you do see it and you can get your hands on it, then buy it. It's such a gorgeous neutral brown lipstick. I love it. Okay, so now I'm just gonna set my entire face with the L'Oreal Infallible Pro Matte Setting Spray. I love this stuff, it's really good. It's actually almost empty because I've been using it for so long. Okay, so that is it for this all 100% drugstore makeup tutorial. I think that my favorite things that I used today would have to be the Angel Veil Primer from NYX. I really like the way that this felt on my skin, and my skin looks nice and matte, and it looks pretty smooth everywhere that I applied it, which was my whole face, so my whole face does look pretty smooth. I'm excited to see how my foundation wears throughout the day. You guys know, obviously, I am obsessed with this foundation. I love these concealers. The eyeshadow palette was good. It wasn't amazing, but this is the best eyeshadow palette that I have found yet at the drugstore. These Essence eyeshadows are gorgeous in theory, but they do have a lot of fallout and they don't really stay intense on the lids like you would like. This NYX illuminator is very pretty. Like, if you are looking for a good drugstore highlighter, I think that this one is gorgeous. They do have it in other shades as well. It has a beautiful glow to the skin. Like, I can't complain. Once I set it with the setting powder, the powdery look to it went down. It doesn't look as powdery. It doesn't look as, oh, you're wearing highlighter on your face. It's kind of like mixed into my skin, so I like that. The Rimmel Lash Accelerator was good for the bottom lashes. I hated it for the top lashes. I don't know what happened there, but it just was really weird. I have mixed opinions about this Brow Wiz from L'Oreal. I think that it did a great job of filling in my brows. The product was not waxy and weird. It was great, but the pencil feels very fragile. I wish that it felt a little bit more durable in the hand. That's my only complaint, would be the packaging, not the product. This bronzer from Rimmel isn't horrible. Like, if you guys don't mind this color, I think that the powder is great. It blended out well. It had a good color payoff. I don't have a problem with the formula or anything. It's just the color is a little bit orange. So if you don't like that, then you're not going to like this product. But it doesn't look that bad. I don't know. In camera, I feel like it's picking up a little bit more orange than it looks in person. Obviously, you guys know, favorite mascara of life. This setting powder is actually very good. I'm impressed. And then everything else I feel like I talked about and covered enough. If you guys have any suggestions for me on drugstore products that you love, that you think that I would like, especially a bronzer, I really need to find a good drugstore bronzer that is very neutral in tone and not too orange. So please leave me suggestions in the comments below. I would really appreciate that. If you guys enjoyed this video, then please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you in my next video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.